Billy, we have gotten a lot of comments with some pretty bold opinions. Some we agree with, some not so much. So today we're going to respond to some of the hottest takes that you guys have provided. And if you enjoy this idea and want to be a part of it in the next one, make sure you join the Discord so you can be tagged next time we make a video like this. So for each one of these, you and I are going to choose whether to start, bench, or cut your submission from our hot takes roster, we'll call it. And feel free to play in the comments, by the way. If you want to listen, open up a comment and give your start, bench, or cut to each one. Starting meaning that you are in full agreement with the take. Benching, maybe you want to sit it for a while and see, maybe you're not really ready to buy in yet. Or cut, just cut it. Bad take, you don't like it, whatever. Let's just jump right into the first one. First one's from Lord Venom. If Robbie Fabbri can stay healthy, he's going to get 45 goals.
Oh, boy.
45.
That's ambitious. That's ambitious. That's what we were putting DeBrincat at the start. I would say I'm mighty impressed with Fabbri this year, and I've always really liked him.
That means now? Like this? Like if this year he could finish with 40? That's crazy.
I think so.
What's he have right
that's
now?
What Lord's saying. I do not know. I'm gonna bench it. I'm gonna bench it right now.
I'm gonna look right now really quick.
It's really not that bad, but I don't think it's something I could just start, because 45 goals in the NHL is a lot. And I know the stipulation of if he's healthy is in there. 45 just might be too many. I could see myself going 35, and that would be my starting point.
7 goals in 11 games played is what we're at. So you're more the math guy. What is that if he played 82 games?
What's 8 times 7? Over 50, 56.
Maybe Lord Venom's shooting a little low.
I mean, I'm just saying at the start of the season, Josh, Alex DeBrincat was on track for 82 goals. Okay, so take your sample sizes and do what you will with them.
I'm benching that one as well, but I don't want to completely say no to something like that, because he has been hot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna need to, the same way I wouldn't actually project DeBrincat to get 80 something goals. I want to see it last for a little bit before I jump on fully. Next one is from Ruth. Says I actually have 2. So yeah, should we average them? The first one isn't that much of a hot take at this point, but the Wings are going to make the playoffs and make it to the second round. That I'm willing to start that one. I can, you know what? Because I'm already I'm locking us for the playoffs, but I'm willing to jump in. I'm willing to jump in with we can squeeze out of the first round.
Man, this is somewhere right in between those two for me. I guess I would go ahead and lean towards start. I'm feeling comfortable that we would be able to find a goalie that would be able to perform for us there. I think we have some depth that could definitely perform in the playoffs. I do think that we have the defense that would be able to pull something off like that too. I think we're a pretty well-rounded team that is very hot offensively and can find a hot goalie. Yeah, I'll start it.
Their second one is that Patty Kane is going to be a point per game player in Detroit.
That's very ambitious. I'm gonna use the terms that Lyon and Kane used for his return for the game against Buffalo, with ambitious and aggressive. That would be a lot. What he would play roughly 50 or so games for us, so he'd be 50 or so points in those games. And if we're thinking that he's going to be a second or third line player, I think I'm going to bench it. I'm not going to set the expectation that high on him.
I'm going to bench it only because we haven't seen a game yet. So who knows, if we end up doing a video like this again in like a month or two and we can see a little bit more, I would be willing to revisit one like that.
Yes.
Harv says, I've been known for being optimistic or over optimistic when it comes to supporting teams in hockey. So I'll say if Florida did it last year, we can do it too. Only difference is we're going all the way. Once in the playoffs, anything is possible. Carv is calling a Stanley Cup.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to turn the argument right back towards Carv. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen for all other 15 teams at the same point. I've got to cut this one. This is super, super spicy. It's super hot, and I can't I can't even begin to like think about a Stanley Cup at this point.
Yeah, it's funny that it's always like the teams that don't feel like they have a lot of hope that says anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never hear Boston, like when they're the top seed, they're breaking records. Like, hey guys, anything can happen. No, it's like, no, we should absolutely do this. So if you catch yourself saying anything can happen, you're probably on the lower end of
Yes.
the probability. I'm cutting it as well. I can't even bring myself to bench. I was benching, or no, I'm sorry. I was just barely in on making it to the second round. You can't get me that far yet.
Yep.
Adrenaline says it was perceived as a big deal at the time, but in my opinion, we lost nothing by trading Tyler Bertuzzi. The depth in scoring this season is great to see.
Hammer home the start. Hammer home the start. Adrenaline. Oh my God. To me, that's super cold. To some others, I bet that might be a little hot. I am hammering the start button here. Tyler Bertuzzi is not worth over $5.5 million per year. You and I talked about this so much in the past. We are not missing Tyler Bertuzzi. How mean should I get here? The guy,
it's tough to say you're not missing him. Like he would bring something to the table, but
yes,
we absolutely came out victorious for what we got for him.
Yes, I would say that I would make that deal 10 out of 10 times and I wouldn't think about it again. But
yep.
Tyler Bertuzzi is quite literally the definition of a pigeon in the NHL, in that he does not often create his own opportunities and he just takes what is given to him. He just eats what others leave out for him. Okay. So that is Tyler Bertuzzi. He even did it against us. Like, he didn't create those opportunities that he performed against us with. It was like John Tavares finding him in front of the net and him just being in the right place at the right time. Shout out Justin Applicator.
I'm going to start that one as well. You could always tell whether or not a deal was good for one team or the other. If you look back and one team is like, yeah, I'd still do it, and the other's like, I might make some changes. I think they would probably make an adjustment in that trade. The Wings got to feel pretty good about it though.
I think it's also important to note that pick ended up being Sandin Pellikka, who is absolutely tearing up the SHL right now, and so many people are super hyped about him. Yeah, that's worth Tyler Bertuzzi. I'll tell you that.
All right, this one we kind of already did, but I don't want to leave someone out from the Discord. Noah Pro Gamer says Wings will make it to the playoffs in a non-wildcard seed, go hard in the first round and ultimately win, then second round out due to mounting injuries. I'm starting that one. I already said we make it to the second round. If we make it, I think we're making it through the second round. But I guess we can add this one in. They're saying it won't be a wild card, so I'll still start. I'm going to still believe that we're going to make it without having to be a wild card team.
I'm going to start that as well, just because I didn't imagine us really winning as a wild card. So when I was starting in the previous scenario, I was already imagining us in the third. So I'm not just going to contradict myself in the same video, but I might say something differently tomorrow.
Corsi says Simon Edvinsson will be playing for Detroit before the end of January. That implies, it says playing for Detroit. Does that mean they will get brought up by them at all, or they will be brought up and you probably stick in there?
I would have to imagine you're talking full time at that point. And
it just says will be playing for Detroit, but I mean, I don't want to overshoot for them and then bench it. So I mean, just based off only what they said without making any assumptions, I would agree. I would say there's a pretty good chance before the end. That would be another roughly 2 months, because it's the very beginning. It says before the end of January. So about 2 months where he would get any sort of a call up. Yeah, I'd start that. I would hope, not for the worst reasons, obviously, but I would hope that he would be the one to get called up.
I would absolutely think he's gonna be the one. I can't really see a Johansson getting called up before him. It feels like he would be the very easy one. I'm gonna go ahead and start it with those stipulations that you put on it, because yeah, I absolutely would anticipate that some injuries are gonna happen. I know that we've already been kind of banking on that this season as to why Simon would play. So yeah, sure, if you're gonna put another 2 month window on it moving forward here, I still believe that those could happen, and that would be the guy to call.
Okay, they also cheated and put a second one. But Corsi also says, and Reimer will be traded before deadline for a third round pick.
it's a fair value, I think, for a team that could really need a goalie. I think the only situation that we find ourselves trading a goalie is if our forwards really start to all just perform super well and you don't know who you need to start sending down, and you find, solid play out of Lyon and Husso that you don't think it's worth having a third guy in that cycle, and instead you'd rather have that pick. I'm ultimately gonna, I think, bench that one. I'm leaning between bench and cut, not very much towards the starting, to give a little more insight in my thought, just because I don't see the scenario where it's
Yeah.
smartest for us to do that, especially
I'm
because we don't have a guy in Grand Rapids ready to come up if some emergency does happen. So
especially if you're planning on being a playoff team. And Stevie, I'm cutting it. Steve shows he wants goalies.
Mhm.
He wants to have goalies. He doesn't want a goalie. He wants goalies. And especially if we get to the deadline and we expect to be a playoff team, he's not. I don't think anyway he is going to give up that security blanket of having an extra goalie going into something like that.
with what you just said, I do want to look a little more into it to see what you mean. When you say Steve wants goalies, are you saying you think that this is his ideal system?
I could see it. I mean, I also think Stevie has shown a history of he likes to bring in goalies and just increase the chances of having someone who is hot.
Mhm.
And like, how many goalies has he acquired? How many has he traded away? He lets them go when he's done with them, but he hasn't shown any sign of that he's going to feel like, I don't need this one, give me a third, especially if we're going to be competitive. And if we believe everything we've already said about being a playoff team, and I would have to imagine, he won't say it in an interview, but Steve's got to have a higher expectation, or why would you even bother bringing in a Patrick Kane and take other people off the ice? So, whether he's going to admit it or not, Steve believes this team could be a playoff team. And with that, I don't think we're going to get rid of something that helps us feel a little bit safer at that position. G-Drag 73 says this veteran defense shines come playoff time.
Shines. That might be where you get me. I think I might bench the Shining, because I think they're gonna be what they are right now, and they're gonna be acceptable. I think they're gonna continue to perform at a fine level, but we have seen that our defense can struggle with breaking the pucks out. When we face someone like Florida in that forecheck, it is kind of the weak point of our game. They struggle a little bit with, guys right on their backs and getting those pucks out right away. I think that they are good to make the playoffs, absolutely. But I could see in a playoff series, what would scare me the most is a combination of the defense and goaltending together. So I'm going to say benching on the Shining.
I'm benching it with you. I'm not going to say they can't, but as is right now, I don't think they are in any position to shine.
Mhm.
Shine to me implies that they are going to be the reason we win at least one or two games.
Yeah.
And I've seen them play well enough to not be the reason we lose. And that's about it. Hopefully, I mean, we have a whole year. We still have plenty of season left. There's still a lot of hockey to be played. So that's not something I'm willing to write off as impossible. I'm benching it. Okay, you're going to like this one. Or it's too much for you. Disciple of Larkin says, JT Compher gets another career high and gets 65 to 70 points on the year. I love the way he plays, and I think the increased role in Detroit is allowing him to thrive, and all he needed was a little taste in Colorado.
Start.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Little discussion, because he has absolutely been my underrated player on the Red Wings this entire year. The guy does it all, and he's finding his way to score kind of those dirtier goals. What we're asking for of a guy getting in front of the net and being able to tip this puck, he's doing it. He has time on the power play. He's on the PK. He's just so solid. And potentially the big part here is he could be on the line with Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane could be on that second line with him and DeBrincat. Yeah, I could see those points starting to to rocket up from this year. The thing that gets me a little bit is the little taste in Colorado, you said in that comment.
Yeah, they finish it just by saying, I love the way he plays, and I think the increased role in Detroit is allowing him to thrive, and all he needed was a little taste in Colorado. So maybe he means
Yeah.
a taste of that winning culture and just how things were going there, and then bringing it over here. Now he has more of a role instead of just being a part of a bigger system.
Well, the big thing with Compher last year was he was moved up their depth chart due to some injuries. So he had a much bigger role to play there and is now playing that same very large role here. So yeah, I agree with just about all that and starting it.
D. Cole Hoff. I hope I just didn't say a weird word by PC together, weird spelling. Says if he gets enough time in net, Lyon will be in the Vezina talk.
Oh no, I gotta cut
Oh
that.
man, I heard your eyes hit the back of your head on that one.
I gotta cut that. That is lofty. That's massive. Like, I really like Alex Lyon. I think he could be a solid goaltender in the NHL, and that's what you need. You just need a goaltender to be solid for you, to give you a chance. I mean, if you look at the recent Cup winners, I mean, Vasilevsky is probably the one that stands out the most of being like a truly elite goalie. I don't think you need it, and that's some really, really high company up there to put him in competition with the Vezina, especially with like the way someone like the Rangers and Boston are playing right now. It's just Sturkin, Swayman, Olmark. I'm gonna have to cut that.
Cutting that one as well. I mean, I don't think he's going to get the starts needed to even be in the talks. But that's some high praise, man. You got to be top of the litter to even be in that conversation. And I'm not. Listen, he's barely played. We might look stupid in a month. Happy to be wrong on this one.
Yeah,
but cutting for now. Ace Fishing says, "Oh, we see them in the live streams all the time."
Yep.
Here's bold for you. We make the finals the playoff experience of guys like Perron, Compher, Kopp, Petrie, Sherratt, etc. take over and lead the core through to the end.
I've got
through to the end. I think it's implying a Stanley Cup again. I think we got another cup caller.
I don't think they're implying the cup. I think they're just saying make the finals and the experienced core will get them there. I would again use that argument and say, would you say the same thing for the Penguins if they squeak in as a wild card, or if Tampa makes it in again? Does all of that experience and success project them to the end? So I have to cut it on the reasoning. Overall, I don't think that we make the finals, and then the reasoning, I feel like there are better resumes out there on other orgs and other players to follow that.
Safe cut for me as well. I'm happy with where the team is at. I love the trajectory we're going, and I know it's fun to get excited. Believe me, you will see me in the comments fighting for each one of you. Anytime you guys get excited and someone tells you to pump the brakes, I am anti-pump the brakes guy. I love getting excited, but like as for legitimately predicting going to the Stanley Cup Finals at this stage already, that's just it's too far for me. I can't go that far with you. I'm gonna let you try to understand this one.
Okay.
Because like it sounds simple, but maybe there's more to it. If the Red Wings don't make the playoffs, it's not Steve Yzerman's fault.
So I did see this one, and I thought about it too. I saw it on my lunch break, and I was actually on my drive home thinking about it quite a bit. And what I think they mean is that Steve Yzerman has provided the players that can make the playoffs. And if they do not make the playoffs, it either comes down to Derek Lalonde's coaching staff not strategizing properly, cough, cough, our power play, cough, cough, or the players simply not performing to what we have seen them be able to do. So I don't think this is a very hot take, simply because we are in a playoff spot right now. If this was made at the start of the season, it's a little hotter. But the fact that we're 20-something games in, we're a quarter of the way through, we're in a playoff spot, and we've seen what these players can do. I'm gonna say it's a bit colder, but I'm starting it because yeah, these players in this congelation or whatever you want to call it of players can make the playoffs. So if they don't, I don't think it's Steve.
Congelation a word?
Hopefully.
I'm starting it as well. At this point, props to Yzerman. I feel like Yzerman has done everything that you could ask, and the only thing that he could do more is we'll see what happens at the trade deadline. We'll see if he doubles down. This doesn't feel like a double down situation at the deadline. I could see him being like, hey, if we make the playoffs, that is just, I'm immediately proof that we are, hockey talent is coming back. Like we are on the track back. But who knows, if he sees potential and he thinks we're like a piece away and that piece is also out there, we have a lot of names you guys are asking to see play. And when you're loaded up on the kind of treasure chest that Yzerman's built up, and not just picks, but players, this is what you use it for. So we'll see how they look with Kane being added. We'll see how it looks at the deadline. Dark Phoenix says Yzerman has kind of screwed up by signing as many players to long-term deals as he had. The number of interesting prospects we have means they'll have to play some roles. Are you immediately opening up cat friendly?
Yeah, because I
do it. There's hardly any room for them in the coming years. If the team is only supposed to get better year after year, are we really at some point going to try to work multiple rookies in the lineup? I like the team we have, but I don't understand how we're possibly going to work our multiple forwards and defensemen who have shown. So basically, to sum this one up, he thinks we've signed way too many players to long-term deals.
Are you ready to hear the players?
Hold on. We're not. Hold on. I responded to this one a few hours ago, hoping to get a response before we recorded, and I did. I said, which long-term deals are you referring to? The person responded, Dark Phoenix responded, right now I'm thinking of Kopp, Hall, and Mata mainly. Those are the three that they specifically cite that Yzerman think has screwed up by signing these long-term deals, preventing prospects from playing.
Okay, so let's just take that one by one. I'll just start cutting. Absolutely a cut right off the start. Cut. And we can dive into each one that he said. Kopp, at the age of 29, signed 4 more years at $5.6 million. If I don't know how else to say this, if you're not simply looking at the points and you're not just looking at stat lines of what he's able to put in for goals and assists, what you get out of Kopp at 5.6 mil is fantastic. I can't promise that that's going to still be around when he's 33 years old. I can't, but I don't see a reason as to why I would believe that with the salary cap going up in the next number of years, that somehow a $5.6 million contract on at that point later in his career, maybe he is our 4th line center, right? And you have someone like Casper coming up and taking the 3rd line spot. It's really difficult to have a problem with that contract at this point. The next one is Justin Hall. He's 31. He's signed 3 more years, so we're going to have a defenseman again till he's 34 or so. And at 3.4 mil, with what I just told you at 5.6, Justin Hall at 3.4, we talked about it a little earlier in the other question about our defense shining. He's an NHL caliber defenseman that does well at depth. 3.4 mil is not troublesome with that whatsoever. And I know that maybe I'm focusing in too much on the dollar amounts right now for each one, but the last one was Ole Mata, right? He's just signed till next year. These players are holding back. Maybe we need to like delve into another layer of this. They said that they were holding back players, right?
Long-term deals, these long-term deals that Yzerman's signing are preventing prospects from playing, essentially.
I firmly believe the reason Justin Hall was drafted is because Simon Edvinsson is not an NHL playoff caliber defenseman right now. That's why I think that happened. Why I think players like Daniel Sprong were signed was because Jonathan Berggren, unfortunately, as much as I would love him to be, is not an NHL playoff caliber winger right now. It's not to say that they can't, but guys, we're talking 2-3 years down the road for some of these guys, and it could be the best thing that could happen. Like, if for what you're saying is like these longer term deals on some of these older guys, if Justin Hall performs really well for us, trade piece next year. Like, if you really want him gone and you think Simon Edvinsson is absolutely there and this is holding that spot off, there are a lot of teams in the NHL that would take Justin Hall at 3.4 mil with how he's performed so far this year. So I'm just absolutely going to cut it for a multitude of reasons.
Our last one, we're going to end on a cut. Austin West Vegan says, the goal song is doo-doo. I don't care that it's Eminem. It sucks. We should embrace player goal songs.
Okay, I understand the player goal songs because I think that that can be kind of cool. But guys, we're in the early stages of like the Red Wings coming back, you know? And we witnessed it firsthand. We experienced it firsthand watching and experiencing the Blackhawks come up with Chelsea Dagger. This could literally be Chelsea Dagger. I understand that like some people don't like Eminem. That's fine. That's totally cool if that's not your type of music, that's not your type of artist, you don't like him, whatever it may be. But that song does such a good job of being like fun, lighthearted, and also taunting at another team that I think I'm all on board with it. I would be cool with player goal songs, but like I'm also very cool with this. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go cut.
I'm gonna go cut on saying the song is doo doo, but the goal song being doo doo. But I'm starting the idea of I would love player goal songs. I think that'd be cool. Like I've heard of that. It's obviously inspired from walk up music for baseball players, and they get to pick their own song. I think that's really cool. So,
but also at the same point, like I'm not gonna lie, guys, go around the NHL and look up like player goal songs that some of them choose. Some of them are very lame. Like not every player in the NHL picks like an exciting, fun goal song for when they score. And when they score, it's worse than what you're hearing right now in Detroit. Okay, so like yeah, you'll get some really cool ones, but you'll get some worse ones too.
about an hour before we started this recording, we just hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's because of you guys. So especially those of you who made it to the end of this video, we really appreciate you. Thanks for helping us get this far. It's been a ride, and we can't wait to keep making a ton more Red Wing videos and get to know you guys even more at the watch along. So if you're not already subscribed, now's a pretty good time. We got a lot coming.
Are finger guns against YouTube TOS?
We're not putting that in the video.
I think
Cut
we
it.
are.
Cut it.